If you'd like to call the meeting to order. Attendance. Ashley, here. Christina, here. Max?
Here.
Jerry?
Here.
Daryl? Not here. First thing we would be to approve the meeting minutes from November 19th. Has everybody had a chance to look them over?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes
Have a
from
motion?
November 19, 2025 to approve the minutes.
Perfect. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Meeting minutes have passed. All business.
So Caleb reached out, he just wanted to give you guys an update. So this is for 12870 North Street. Just some more information, I think, for the proposal and kind of his request. And this is for the Greco building down on North Street. So I'll give you the floor.
Okay. I have some papers here. I know I didn't bring them last time. So here's the application for the assistance. And then I have a copy of some preliminary expenses with a couple estimates. You guys could take a look at. I don't have all the estimates here, but
Thank you.
so where to begin? I'll go ahead and just give, synopsis of why I've been coming here, what my intentions are. Again, this has been going on for a few months now. So I found the building on Marketplace via Jay Knowles, and I went and looked at the building. Very interested in it. I sent over a couple offers to Greco and Greco and Susan Greco, and we couldn't meet on the same page. I tried to get creative with how I could buy it with a land contract. I even offered them $50,000 more than what they were asking if they could meet my terms, and we could never get there. So eventually, after 2 or 3 of those scenarios and understanding that they just wanted to get out of the building, Jay recommended I come here, and that's when we met for the first time. And since then, I've been at the building several times, just looking at the type of expenses that I would need to put into the building. And that's kind of highlighted in here, the third statement down, or the total cost of the project. I'm anticipating around $35,000 initially. And the reason I came here in the first place is because I'm looking for gap funding, essentially. The reason I offered them much more upfront is for a longer term situation, which would allow me to pull money out of the building initially and then put it back in to rehabilitate that bottom space, essentially. So my wife and I's business is 21 Pine LLC. It's a real estate holding company, just formed 2025. Total cost of the project. Well, the project under consideration is the building, as you all know, and it's right in the heart of downtown. And I think that if it's done properly, hopefully, at the end of the day, people will look at it and be wanting to come to Dillsboro, maybe to open up their own business or consider moving to the main street. I don't know if one building is going to do that. I don't want to make it seem like it's a magic, 8-ball is going to cure all the problems. but I think that it could help with your guys' overall efforts to rehabilitate Main Street, if you want to say that. So I don't know if you want me to go through all this or not, but basically I took the questionnaire that was given to me and I rephrased it just to make it a little bit easier to read. With that being said, does anybody have any questions about this particular document? Then I can get into the expenses a little bit.
No, I think it looks pretty straightforward. Thank you.
So initially I said $10,000 in renovations, which I soon realized that just after quoting the windows, and if you look at that, the expenses there, the windows alone were $14,000 to have a local company supply them and install them. Demolition, you know, my plan would be to actually expose that, there's a brick wall in the center and it looks really nice if it can be, that plaster could be torn off and expose that brick wall, look really sharp in there. So there's a couple thousand in labor and dumpsters. Flooring was also another estimate I got from a local company. If you look at that, it's on the second or third page of that staple packet. And that was $7,000, and that's for basically what they would say is a medium grade LVP. It's a thinner material, so it's 4 millimeter thick. I could easily spend $7,000 just in material with a nicer flooring system. Couple other things that I mentioned before is the ceiling. There's something that gotta happen with that drop ceiling. I have been doing some research on that, and there's a product out there that you could actually keep the drop ceiling and put panels in, and it almost looks like wood. And you can't tell. The grub company actually has it. They just put it up in their back room. And I went in there and I'm like, man, this is really sharp because you paint the grid black and then you set these panels in and it almost looks like wood ceiling. So electric, trim, paint, fixtures, that all estimates, $35,000. As I've said a number of times, I'm trying not to get too deep into this because nothing's certain and I already have a lot of time into it. So I just wanted, Derek asked me to get some numbers together, and so I wanted to share those with you. That's preliminary, just estimated rough costs. But I know windows and flooring right there, I got two solid estimates. And a lot of that stuff is not including labor, like the ceiling, the electric. I have a prior electrical background, so I plan on doing a lot of this work, but the expenses are just to show you that, well, those are gonna be my costs, and then anything that I'm not gonna hire out, essentially, I'll be doing. So there is also a number involved with that, but, I don't feel like I could put a number on my labor. There has been a purchase agreement between us, the seller and the buyer, and there's a contingency that I wanted in there that basically says the sale of the property is contingent on that redevelopment commission being able to help with what I'm asking for. Greco also shot that back. He was okay with that, but he also wanted to put a contingency in there that says that they're going to continue to market the property, and if another offer is received, then I'll basically have the first right to take action on that. And I think they gave me they'll ask that I remove the contingencies by just, getting funding myself. And I have like a 15-day window, which I haven't signed that yet because 15 days, even from a financing perspective, is not enough time. So, we'll get that worked out. But from my understanding, if the assistance from the redevelopment commission is voted on and approved, then that would remove contingencies, their contingency. They do have a firm outside closing date of May 1st, is what it sounds like. The last time I looked at the purchase agreement. So happy to answer any questions.
So what is the balance that you're needing from us?
So the purchase price 230. So what I was asking for is the down payment, because I'm gonna have to go to the bank and get it traditionally financed. I'm gonna have to pay 20%. If I were to give them that purchase price and then, you know, without any help, and then put another, you know, 35,000-40,000 in, I probably wouldn't even entertain the project.
So our number, the number from us is what?
46,000, yeah, and that's found, on that application at the bottom of the second page there.
So May 1st is your firm closing date with them, as
That's-
long as
that's-
things go.
From my understanding, and, you know, Susan's been really, I haven't been communicating with Susan except for in here, so she seems like she's really down to earth and, giving me really good information, but if it's up to anybody, it's up to Greco, because he really wants to move on and, you know, move on from it, so.
Have we discussed terms of
So,
what our expectation would be?
so that's something I think we definitely have to work out.
Okay.
Right now, there was kind of, I think, two options we were looking at, and I think we're leaning more towards that community development corporation that was established for Dearborn County.
Right.
So it's like a third party entity, that we would have to work out an agreement with them. And then they would work out the agreement with, you know, Caleb potentially in this case. Through my conversations with Gage, I mean, it seemed like a pretty straightforward process. They've shared kind of their agreements they have, the community development corporation that they have with the city of Greendale, and then what they also have with a hotel development that's going on in Greendale. So I think it would be relatively easy to replicate. And, you know, I know the one idea that I've discussed with some of the board members, we haven't, you know, formally done this, but, you know, potentially the proceeds of the Linover Street property. You know, I'm still hopeful that, you know, something's on the agenda tonight. But, you know, hopefully we can get offers in February, potentially close on that in March, April at the latest. If something happens with that, I mean, we don't have $46,000 as the redevelopment commission to take action on this. It would have to, you know, be a request to council. I mean, I think it would still come through redevelopment commission. I mean, this is kind of, you guys are the, you know, the entity that does this sort of work. But you're basically asking council to, you know, give or lend the money. But yeah, I think if you all are interested, in this, then I do think, at some point, we're gonna ask the Community Development Corporation some terms, some expectations that we would expect from Caleb. You know, so I think that is something you have to work out. You know, what do we, you know, if we're agreeing to 46,000, you know, what are our expectations, and, you know, what do we want, you know, to see as a guarantee?
And we've talked about timeline a little bit. A good timeline for me, I think, it's fair as a 2-year timeline. And what I mean by timeline is, obviously, would want somebody in that space just as much as you guys would. Okay, so time is of the essence. But the requirements, quote unquote, I think would have to be that, you know, the space is finished and I'm trying to get someone in there because I can't force someone to, you know, rent a space.
I understand that, I just don't want it to be like, you know, we gotta set up something, because we need something in that space if we're gonna put money towards that. And, you know, with you buying it, I know
Yeah.
you'll have rentals, but we don't wanna keep that space down there empty.
Yeah,
So we wanna make sure that we get something in there
So-
from our standpoint.
Yeah, so you wouldn't be opposed to it being at least rent ready
that's what I mean, yeah.
by, you know, because I'm looking at May of 26, you're saying 2 years. I mean, we could even throw like July of 28. And that gives you 2 years and an extra month or so to get your ducks laid out and ready to go. But, you know, it would have to be something where we looked and said, this is not rented, because obviously you can't make someone rent a
Right.
building, but
Right,
you can at least have it where it's,
Yeah,
because we've had other situations where it just kind of sat, and that has done no good. So, you know, but I think, you know, if you're truly talking about, you know, 35,000, you want that space rented as well.
oh, yeah.
So,
And the longer that I sit on those expenses, just the more money that I'm gonna be paying.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
because you're
absolutely.
truly, you're getting a
Yeah.
loan for the remaining amount. So it's
Yeah.
not like you
Yeah.
wanna sit on it any more than we would want you to, but.
Yeah,
Because that's my only concern, is if we do the 46,000 with, you know, as a handing it to you, that if it's not by, you know, some mid 2028,
yeah.
that we have some recourse to get it back. So
Right.
that,
And that, I would expect that too, like if May came, we would have something in place that protected you guys, like, hey, here's May, next month, you're gonna have to start paying us X amount, you know, if there was like a certain period of time. And those are details we work out.
who would draw that up there?
It'd probably be John,
John,
and the CDC has an attorney too.
Okay.
So it'd probably John and them work together, and you know, us kind of feeding the terms that wants to get that agreement.
I mean, I love the idea of you
Yeah.
doing it. I mean, I know we're kind of throwing a lot of questions at you, but I want you to know that I personally support it
I support it,
wholeheartedly,
yeah,
but we
yeah.
do want to make sure that we've
Yeah.
kind of given
I do.
ourselves
Of course.
a backdoor that we can, if it's not working, that something's got to give, because that is a really nice spot in Dillsboro, and
Yeah.
you know, someone needs to be.
I understand that, yeah.
I think I would want some sort of like note on the property too, that if we were to sell within that period, you have to pay us back.
Okay.
Exactly,
That's fair,
yeah. Yeah,
That's a good thought too, that,
yeah.
just so, you know, that, well, you know, we're not sitting here going, wait,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what happened to our part?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I feel like I'm very transparent. I'd be happy to work out all of that or, with you guys. What I want to do, I guess the next step for me is just knowing whether or not, you know, like, time is kind of a concern now, you know? I have my own equity. If I needed to, which I plan on it actually, is I'll pull, you know, I have a line of credit for things like this. I can get and satisfy the deal with Greco within the timeline if I need to, you know what I mean? So May is just, I mean, it takes 30 days to get financing from a bank just for anything.
Yeah, yeah.
So 30 to 40, so that's not that long.
Yeah,
I think we'll know a lot more by, assuming you guys are in agreement with what I've got kind of outlined on the Lidover Street property. We should know a lot more in February, our February meeting, as far as what offers we have, and that's, if things are going to go kind of as we expect. And we should be able to move on that pretty quickly, I do think, at this point.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like as long as things go well with the Linover, that I'm not opposed at all to helping you, because that basically puts us in two positions that we really want to be in, so.
Yeah. So I
Landover's
guess,
gonna be the big,
I think so.
I know, I'm saying, yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be the big thing, so.
Yeah, I mean, that as far as our part in it,
Yeah.
without having to go to council. But whatever happens in Lenover makes it, but we should, like you said, we should know that by February.
Yeah,
And we'll know before, in February, if we need to try to get council to do a special meeting with us to see if we can get it done by March for you, because I know, I'm looking at your timeline too, you're gonna need by the end of March to get by the 1st of May.
Yeah, right.
So that, we,
Preferably, 40 days,
yeah,
because I think that's what the bank will tell me.
that's what most banks are gonna tell you, even with your,
I would think we could hopefully finalize terms in March.
I would think so.
Hold on,
You guys got any more questions? Be
No, I
happy to
think you've been
answer.
very transparent, and that makes it easy for us too.
Definitely.
So,
So March then,
That's kind of my thought. I mean, I think if everything goes, we'll probably keep this on the agenda. I would assume at our February meeting, we might kind of have more conversations about terms.
right,
If some things come up, then I'll be sure to get that to you. So I mean, I think we can just continue the conversation.
okay,
yeah, I think if, because we're gonna discuss taking applications for the Lenover.
Yeah.
That'll probably be, I would assume, the first thing we discuss in February, the February meeting, and then that's gonna tell us a lot more about where we need to be in your position too, so.
Okay.
So, I anticipate that we'll talk about both in February. Because we'll know, that'll also tell us if we're trying to keep it in-house or if we're going to the council.
okay. So if it is contingent on, Glenover Street, with that sale of the building, you guys have a process of accepting applications for a period of time and then choosing or voting on which, and then expect, if they're financing that, another 30, 40 days.
Potentially.
Yeah.
So I know there's some interest. Someone suggested a potential cash offer. So that could go quicker. But yeah, I mean, if we get an offer that, we all agree looks good and meets our terms in February, we could accept that offer and kind of jump straight into
Okay,
that.
I'm just trying to understand it.
Yeah.
To need any of that information, but.
I think once we have I don't know, I guess things could always fall apart, but I think we could definitely start moving more serious with your request too, once we have something under contract on that.
I don't have any expectations from you guys, just so you know. I mean, I'm here because I'm interested too. So I know that something could happen or something could fall through, like you're saying. So just know that.
I think one of our big things too is we would like to see downtown more accessible and built up. It's hard to put a business down there when there's no available things truly ready, it's a lot you're taking on a lot, the $35,000 notwithstanding, you're taking on a mortgage, you're taking on a lot of things that are gonna help Dillsboro too. And that has to be, that's part of what we do. We're trying to help that work too, so. Well, thank you for your time, and
Yeah.
hopefully we have great news for you and we
Yeah.
can get this worked out.
All right.
Awesome.
Am I free to go?
You're free to go, stick around.
You gotta pick the kids up,
Yeah.
religion, so. All right, I really appreciate you all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
I'll just give quick stellar updates, or I don't know, Gage, do you have anything you want to add to the conversation before we kind of move on?
Oh, no, just that when you all are ready to talk to the CDC about that and kind of what the terms are, just let me know. Anthony Smart is the attorney for the CDC. So he'd be the one working with John. But I agree with you, Derek. I think that the agreement with Greendale can be easily replicated, and then whatever terms that the Dillsboro Redevelopment Commission would want to see can be included in there. So,
I mean, do you think if we kind of told them in March, after our March meeting, that, hey, these are the terms we want, we had John kind of draft up something and send it over to Anthony, I mean, you think April's a realistic timeline on potentially getting everything executed and on kind of getting, with that May timeline in Caleb's?
yeah, I think so.
Would we be able to look at some of the terms that Greendale had
Yeah, I can
before
check.
then?
Yeah.
Because that would kind of make it easier for us if we do
Yes.
start moving quickly, that we have terms in
Yeah.
front of us that we can look and say, yes, we love that. We, because the
Yeah.
sale thing never even occurred to me that he would try to sell it,
Right.
and that's something.
It did me, and that's why I was like, wait a minute, so if he fixes it up, he might
That he.
make a big
See,
profit on it.
And I didn't even, that didn't even occur to me,
Yeah.
so,
Sell for less and still make money.
yeah,
Right.
and we're standing there going, wait, what?
Yeah,
So that, I mean, there's stuff like that I would like to see what other people have done. This is obviously our first rodeo. It'd be nice to do a good job.
Yeah, Gage and share with me, so I can.
Okay.
That's all.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I think there are some other documents, Derek, that I can send you for that agreement as well.
And we'll continue to talk about the terms, like I said, I just want to keep it
Yeah,
top of
keep it.
mind, so that, if we want to take action, we can. Just quick updates on the Stellar project. We had some minor changes with our sidewalk project, so that segment going down North Street 62 towards 262. We decided to kind of pull that segment out. We've got an issue with someone not agreeing the easements. We're kind of running tight on our budget. And we're gonna try to make a better finished product on Ruhlman with the stormwater drainage. And making some changes on Linover and Western Road too. So I think that's just FYI. We're looking at that intersection at Main Street. So this is kind of the direction we're going with changing that traffic pattern, and trying to get some better sidewalk connectivity through there too.
Thank God.
Um,
That street is kind of a mess.
If you guys have any specific questions, I'd be happy to kind of show you. We got kind of the first 40% engineered plans for the sidewalks. But like I said, everything's pretty well come together, as you discussed, with the exception we had to pull that section off North Street. And then with our streetscaping project, we got, and I could share this if you all are interested. We do have a visioning study that was kind of wrapped up, and we have preliminary design on this one as well. This is something that council's looking at voting on approving in February. I'll just kind of skip to the drawings here. This is at Spangler Road. We're just kind of looking at, redefining some curb lines to allow for street lighting, landscaping, benching, kind of changing some crosswalks, striking some crosswalks, just tightening certain intersections to slow traffic down. So just kind of narrowing that path for pedestrian crossing, and then providing space for, like I said, benches, landscaping, trash cans, that sort of thing.
Can you go back up to that? I'm still trying to figure out what
Yeah, sure.
I was looking
So
at.
this is the green space.
Oh,
North
okay, I
Street,
see where we're at.
Front Street, this is where the community gardens are.
Okay. I think that's a great.
So we know we want to add some landscaping and some other amenities and street lighting kind of on this corridor here. This is where Bank Street comes in at. So kind of just redefining that curb line. Making that those crossings easier, giving us some space to add some landscaping bench to the street line. So, here. Down the street,
Which I would look really nice with that. The building was.
all the way to Mulford Street. The stellar updates. Then, if no questions on any of that, I'll kind of just jump into the, the main business, the 12827 Lenover Street. So two things, we got the survey. We got the survey completed and the offer packet. Shoot. Can't seem to find my, the one I have in front of you that's kind of got the timeline, the boxes. That one. So that's kind of the, yes, this is kind of the state process for disposing property. So the first thing is determine, and I'm sorry, kind of look pixelated, but determine the minimum value of the parcel. So we had a professional appraisal done. His opinion of value was 206. I could not find another commercial appraiser in the area. I did not know such an issue, but I spoke with John, and employees of the town are allowed to permit at a second opinion. So my opinion, I think he's a little high. I got a document there just as an official record of kind of what my opinion of value is. I'm saying 200,000. And then, so we take the average of those two of 203,000. And that's kind of our minimum that, we can accept in this process. So once we have that, we can prepare a public offering sheet. So that is provided with you all as well. And we'll go through that in a little bit more detail. And part of that offering sheet is we have to legally describe the property. So that's where our survey came in. So you guys all have copies. That's what this is, and this is just kind of shows how this property is proposed to be split. So this kind of narrow strip of land that currently exists, it's currently 3 separate parcels right now. What I've asked our surveyor to do is basically extend that to get to the mineral well and the shelter in the back. I've asked him to take a 15-foot setback off that shelter, so that the town could retain this piece and it would kind of just be a memorial property. We could potentially do something with that shelter, and then the rest of that would go with the property itself. So the first thing we have to do is, if you guys are okay with kind of that setup, we just need to approve the survey. There is a section here where the Redevelopment Commission has to sign as owner, but that'll just be Christina. But it should be a motion and a vote from you all. I have reviewed that on kind of the town's end as like our land division process. I had one little minor correction there for them to fix. They just referenced Dearborn County, so the town of Dillsboro, that borough, one instance. I should also note I've asked them to provide an access easement through that narrow strip. Because right now I think it's like 2 feet that property line is from the building. So if they ever want to build anything in the back, they would have legal means to get on that narrow strip. And they could put, potentially put a driveway, a sidewalk, whatever there, but they couldn't.
That's the
they
only,
couldn't restrict us from.
that's the only thing I was gonna ask, if they were to build something back here, do they have access to our property? We just want to retain ownership so that we can always get to our side of it.
Correct.
Okay.
But I mean,
I think realistically, what's gonna happen is if people's going to the well, they're gonna use the water's property. They're gonna park in the parking lot of the water, and they're just gonna walk
Exactly.
to it.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, if they ever want to be jerks and they could restrict that. So this way we still retain, property with frontage on Lenover Street. We could potentially put a sidewalk there to get people back there if it was ever necessary. I don't think it would be, but that's why I've kind of asked them to do that like this. If you notice, there's a lot of kind of cross hatching. So there's a water easement that kind of runs through that kind of narrow strip. And then we also have our sewer main that runs behind us. So that's kind of why you see that cross-hatched area. So that existed before the survey. The only thing that's added is the property line switches and then creating that access easement to go with this new property.
Does anybody have any questions about the two surveys that we've received?
No.
We have a vote to accept these surveys.
I'll make a motion to accept the survey.
I'll second. Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right,
Okay, so that's that. The next thing is the offer packet. I thought we'll just go through it together. And then we understand it. So issuing body, so that's the one that says public offering to purchase real estate property. This is the document that, if approved, I'm gonna send my advertisement request to the paper tomorrow. That's kind of their deadline to run in the paper for next Thursday. And then it has to run twice. The second has to be 10 days before the offer is due. So it'll be the following Thursday as well. We have a property description. So the common address 12827 Lenover Street. The legal description, I've got just the exhibit A. And I'm gonna just provide a copy of this survey. So once we get those changes, I'll probably bug you, Christine, and have you sign it. We'll get it recorded. And then I'll just include that recorded copy of the survey with this packet. The parcel numbers, is kind of to be determined. But I got a reference to the one there just in case someone's looking it up online. We got the acreage, which is noted on the survey. It's just under a half acre. The zoning classification, I'm going to provide a copy of the zoning map. It's actually two different zoning districts. Local commercial on the back piece is actually multifamily residential existing improvements. It's a 2,284 square feet commercial office building and 5,000 square feet of asphalt pavement. The appraisal offering and context, just kind of noted that where it was appraised at, being offered for sale by public marketing or offering, and we'll consider proposals that advance the goals of the redevelopment commission. And I do have a note there that the redevelopment commission is not obligated to accept the highest price proposal or any proposal. I mean, we could reject them all if we chose. So just know that we'll accept a variety of transaction structures. I'm aware of, two potential offers that we have right now. One was suggested as a cash offer, and one was suggested as a land contract. So I'll kind of leave it up to you all, how you want to consider those. Intent, section 5 is intended and acceptable uses. So proposed uses must be consistent with the redevelopment plan and what zoning requirements. It's got may include an unlimited office, professional services, business operations with accessory storage, childcare, early learning facilities, or other lawful commercial quasi-public. So just trying to leave it, generally open there. And I put alternate uses will be considered.
that just leaves the door open for
Yeah.
if it's somebody else wanted to come in and we don't have it listed. That we
And,
can,
honestly, we could probably take that out.
it probably is good to leave it though. You never know what someone's gonna come up with.
Because like I said, at the end of the day, I got an offer sheet where they're gonna indicate their proposed use. And I mean, it's up to you all if you want to consider that. Got our expectations. So again, we're just asking them to kind of give us this information. The terms that will be conveyed as is, where there is no warranties. Just note that we're in the process of the survey. And even with other costs, title insurance, that sort of thing, may be allocated between the parties as proposed by the offer and approved by the commission. So it's, we're really putting it on them to give us an offer, and then we can decide if we're going to accept that or not. I just put a 45-day closing. We can tighten that up even. I think 30 might be typical, but I've seen that get extended sometimes.
I'm just gonna kind of map out and see what 45 is. Do we know?
I'd probably put us at 1st of April.
I'll be close.
Yeah. I mean, if we do end up having to take until March to do it, I mean, we would be getting potentially causing issues with Caleb's timeline. So we can bump that down to 30.
I think that's got 40, or by going through my map, I'm saying, or my calendar, it's looking like April 4th. So,
I'll put 30.
Yeah.
Just for
yeah, because if we do the 30, then at least we can, if we need to bump it out to 40.
Right.
Then we've not put ourselves, because,
Hopefully they would let us know in their offer.
yeah, if it's gonna be contingent on that, so, okay, perfect.
So the submission requirements, so they must include a proposed, their contact information, purchase price, proposed transaction structure, description of intended use, their redevelopment plan, evidence of financial capacity, proposed timeline, and requested contingencies. And then I just noted that an offer sheet's provided. So right after this, I'll kind of show you the offer sheet. Submission deadlines, proposals will be due by our February 18th meeting at 6:30. We can deliver that in person. They can mail it or they can email it to me, provided the town hall address, as well as my email address. Just noted that the commission will evaluate proposals based on price, financial terms, consistencies with redevelopment plan, feasibility, community economic benefit, and experience capacity of the proposer.
Is that something that we can hear, like, if you get more than what we've at least somewhat anticipate? That you can let us know, is it, if something more comes in than what we're, gives us a little bit more time to kind of at least think.
Right.
Before.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be tough, because if we do want to support Caleb, I mean, we might try and want to make a decision relatively quick. Like, so I think we could have.
And that's kind of why I wanted, I don't want to come in here and suddenly have 6 things that we need to think about and
Yeah.
not have any clue
Yeah.
what they are until we.
I'll talk with John to see kind of what we legally, how we can go about that negotiating process. Because I don't think that would necessarily have to be a public meeting.
Right.
To go and negotiate some of those things.
Because it would be nice to know before we get here that we are gonna need to negotiate this.
Right.
And see if they're even willing to entertain it before we get to the point where we're.
My understanding is we can award a bid, and then then we can still kind of negotiate terms after that.
Okay,
My understanding, but I'll double check on all that. And then just kind of jumping ahead to the next, I have the offer packet. So this is what I'm asking offer, people that are submitting a proposal to fill out. So we'll just kind of, once we receive it, we'll sign and date it, just as a record that they formally submitted it. I'm just asking them to provide their legal name, what their structure is, if it's not an individual.
And what are we gonna price that at?
203. That's what our minimum is.
Okay.
I got the state statute. I'll kind of highlight some things here shortly too. But purchase price, the transaction structure. So I don't know that there's anything too crazy about any of this stuff, but just keep it out there. So yeah, I'll jump back to the,
Will it be clear on the paperwork that their minimum bid has to be 203 for, based on the, or is that something we'll just tell them as they come? You know?
yeah, we might just make mention of that
Yeah.
because,
So I just don't wanna waste
Right.
their time if, you know, if they're
Right.
thinking, oh, well, we'll bid 180 and we can't, I mean, truly, we can't consider that because of the two
So-
appraisals.
so we can consider offers less than that if we don't get one that's not a qualifying offer.
Okay,
But we do have to wait, I don't know why the statute does this, but you have to wait 30 days after kind of that, after we receive them. So if we
Okay.
put, if the two we receive or however we receive none of them is at 203, we have to wait 30 days and then we can negotiate with
okay,
that. But I did provide you guys a copy of the statute that this is under, that's 36(7)(14)(22). It's just kind of outlining the process that we're going down. And I did highlight just that kind of subsection F. That, you know, the commission may reject any bid and may make awards to the highest and best bidders in determining the best bid. The commission shall take into consideration the following factors: size and character of the improvements proposed, bidder's plan and ability to improve the property with reasonable promptness, whether it be sold or rented, the proposed sale, their price, and any factors that will assure the commission that the sale or lease, if made, will further the execution of the redevelopment plan and best serve the interest of the community. So, I mean, I think it's really up to you guys as to what you think. You know, serve the best interest of the community, and, you know, it does seem like we have some flexibility in a lot of that. And then lastly, I think I've mentioned this in the past, but I did want to note, this property was donated from St. Elizabeth Healthcare. They did include a restricted covenant when they provided that, and it was essentially that we will not permit any part of the property to be used to operate a physician office, a physician group practice, hospital, or other facility that provides healthcare or healthcare related services.
I'm sorry, can you say that again, just so I can write it down, so I can,
Yeah, that we cannot allow the property to be used to operate a physician office, physician group practice, hospital, or other facility that provides healthcare or healthcare related services, which is unfortunate because that's, you know, what the building was designed and built for. And then, you know, they do include at any time we sell or otherwise transfer to a third party, that they still have a right to first refusal. So once this is approved, I'm gonna go ahead and, as soon as it's approved, I'm gonna go ahead and give them that written notice, you know, that we are in the process of disposing it. And then they have 60 days to basically match that offer. So I don't think St. Elizabeth's going to purchase the building back, but just want you to be aware of that. Okay, so there's.
So that can throw us off even longer than.
Good.
60 days if they.
Yeah,
To
because I'm
give them-
thinking, I'm gonna assume that to be, you know, if I send it tomorrow, you know, that's February, March. So hopefully about the time we're trying to close on everything, they will submit something by then.
Yeah, okay.
I think, and this may have just been what I was hearing instead of what he actually meant, but it kind of sounds like Caleb was saying, if I know you're gonna help, then I can make it happen, but I can't liquidate that hard without knowing that I'm gonna get the help I need.
Yeah.
Did anyone else kind of feel like that too? Okay. I felt like that was what he was saying, but I didn't want to make him, but that's just my own personal living. If we get outside of that timeframe, I think he just needs to know we're gonna back him up on that, so. All right, so we need to vote to accept to do this, and
Yeah, to basically approve the offer packet.
does anybody have any more questions about the offer packet or anything they want to discuss any further?
Nope.
Do we have anyone willing to vote to motion to accept it?
No, go ahead.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, anybody second?
I'll second that.
All approved, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the only change we were really making was the 30 days.
30 days, I might, if you guys are okay with them, I might put some language in there about the 203. Like I said, my understanding is they can legally submit under that, but if someone's at least at 203, that we have to go with that. If not, then it adds another 30 days.
Yeah, okay. I would like that, just that
So I can add
if
that.
it's 203, then.
Yeah.
Then those are the first of the truly considered, so.
Um. And then I did just want to note some other considerations about the proceeds of the sale. Maybe I should have had myself, but I know, potentially some improvements to that mineral well property. Tom Mulvey with the Dillsboro Arts Center has approached me about the second floor of his property, or that property. And then 12916 North Street, that's still something that I think we would need to address. It's just kind of, it's not doing anyone good just sitting there. And, the town's paying utilities on it now at this point. So don't give all our money away without, trying to address some of these other, potential issues as well.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to write and I got myself laughing at the giving our money away, the North Street, the well, trying to do something with that.
And then the
then-
Dillsboro Arts.
Oh, the arts, okay.
What are they wanting to do with that?
Yeah,
They talked about wanting to convert the second floor into like studio space. They would use for artists where they would, I guess, rent the space for a year. They would help staff the building. I told Tom that I would like to see some means of financial sustainability where they're at least, working on a plan to pay their utilities. I think the second floor could be part of that. It would be nice if it was not empty.
Right.
my thought on that is that we can't keep throwing at, I would 100% love to see some, artists be able to go up there and work. That would be fantastic, but it has to be something that at least gets them where they're somewhat sustainable, maybe not even on their own, because I don't know that we're ever going to truly expect them to pay rent on their space, but it would be nice if they were.
At the very least, they're paying utilities.
Yes. I agree. I mean, it would behoove us if we were looking at it more as a rental apartment, because then they would be able to, take in that income and at least cover their utilities. That would be fantastic, but
Ideally, to me, we just get the property and get out of it.
yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, is that something that eventually we could consider, or
my understanding was and I've not talked to them personally about this, but I was told they weren't interested in that previously. They are concerned about being able to financially support it. I don't know. But, I think focus on, my focus has been addressing this Lenover Street property because it's a nice property. It's a shame it's just sitting there.
it would be nice to get the Lenover off of the books, get the one that Caleb wants off of the empty, and then we can focus more on the North Street, because the North Street would really be a nice, I could have something going on there, especially if that green space does start really turning into something that would be a really nice addition.
We are, the streetscaping stuff, that's, I think, June, July of 27, when that's going to go to bid. We could potentially see something at the end of 27, probably likely 28 though. But I think that's another thing to keep in mind with Caleb's timeline. It'd be nice once we were kind of wrapping up our stuff, cutting our ribbons, and he was doing the same. Get some momentum built.
'Cause, that would, between the arts building and North Street, it would be nice to get in a situation where we could help
in the shoe shop.
get some other buildings moving, yeah. Cause even that house that the, Hughes, do they still own that house?
Hughes do not. They might have sold that on a land contract, but the people that, they've owned it for a couple of years now, they not have it.
Yeah.
So they're the ones that are still trying to sell it. I think they're from like Harrison, West Harrison, Bright area or something.
Are you talking about the building there by the
Scott's
tavern?
old build, yeah. So,
Yeah, agenda.
Yeah, right, that's which one you're talking about.
Yeah, I know way back, I mean, they did own it a while back, but that may have been years ago. I think I
Yeah,
saw it
I
on
know.
Facebook years ago.
Jim said that the cost of rehabilitating that building was prohibitive.
I believe it.
I mean,
I have a feeling it's just like, Jim didn't do anything with it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
there's something.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it is a beautiful, beautiful building. And if I ever win the lottery, I'll buy it myself. It's gonna take the lottery to make that worth
Yeah,
it.
you may need the lottery.
Yeah, yeah,
Beautiful shell, but the inside is.
yeah. The shells,
Yeah.
it's that whole lipstick looks real good, but at some point,
You'd put, basically, I think you'd have to gut that whole building.
yeah. I mean, it would be several $100,000.
And that's
Make it
even
work.
with the foundation.
Oh,
That's an old house.
But other than that,
And then we have the other big building right there.
Yeah.
Post office, that would be a beautiful. I've got big dreams. I dream real big, glass half full. My glass is always.
I just wanna get these
Right.
two going right here,
Yeah.
and then,
I did find it, that one, I can find that one after we listed, but I've yet to be able to find the correct property.
How much is it?
95,000.
I don't have my glasses on. I can't read that from.
That's the ones that you're talking about.
Yeah, that's one I really would love to see something happen. It's great.
that was, like, when I was young, like a center point of town. I had the Masons were in there, I can't remember what they called the women's group.
And they have a
Right.
clothes shop in there or something?
How many apartments are in that? Besides-
Down below was a grocery store.
Okay, maybe.
The
I
first
understand.
floor was a grocery.
The third floor is one apartment.
Oh, wow.
The third floor, like when I was a kid, was where the Masons and the but the Masons and the women's group, whatever they were, they had a couple meetings every month, and they would bring a lot of people into town. Of course, then you had restaurants and bars and stuff that people would go to,
Right.
which we don't
Okay,
have.
change
Which
my
had the
life. I
main
won the
drag
lottery,
too.
okay,
Didn't
good.
have 50.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
this.
I love that.
Definitely going through there.
So that's what we need
That
to
was
do
my
is get
past
Caleb
one,
done and
youngsters.
find
Sit there and
somebody
count the
that we
cents.
can help out with
That
that.
looks so nice.
I'll just give them the shoe shop.
Yeah.
I don't know why Caleb won't take that from us.
You know,
Well, that's
I always
been-
told about that, and they say, hey, Caleb, would you take this too?
I've tried telling them that.
Mhm.
There's no other questions. The only thing I had was our meeting schedule. We didn't get a chance to formally meet in December. But I like every year, I don't know if you guys are fine with this time, if you want to change it. We're third Wednesdays at 6:30, what we're currently at.
Wednesday is great for me. This is my day
Yeah,
off, and
it's
it's wonderful for me to be able to get my stuff done and then come here and not be rushing from work. So as long as that I know you have to kind of race a little bit for work, is that,
Yeah, 6:30 is fine for me.
okay, perfect,
I'm open.
okay.
We need to find somebody else though to fill this other
Yeah.
seat.
Yeah.
It'd be nice, it would help us
You know,
not have to.
if anybody knows of
have to-
anybody that would be interested.
There's one person I'll talk to about it.
Okay.
So I have, unless you guys have questions.
Move on, make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
Alright.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Good night, Bill.
Doing that.
Thanks,